Good day, everybody, and welcome to today's latest episode on buying property in Malaysia, which we also talk about other living in Malaysia topics or retirement in Malaysia. And today we're going to do a topic which is called Is 1,000 Singapore dollars per month enough to retire in Malaysia? So this is a cost of living video, right? We're going to go through your exact amounts of money you spend every month on living expenses in Malaysia, and we see whether 1,000 Singapore dollar enough or not to retire in Malaysia. So let's go. So first things first, let's set the stage for the retirement. So in this case, I assume that you are a retiree, so you're at least 55 years old, not working already. I assume that because you're retired, so you have no monthly income or you have very minimal direct income, right? You are probably receiving your CPF Life monthly payouts, right? I'm also assuming because you're retired here, you're not paying any other insurance money monthly. You're probably receiving insurance money perhaps as well, right? So no monthly insurance premiums to pay. That's the other assumption I'm using here. The other assumption I'm using that you are retiring as a husband and wife, so a couple, right? You and your spouse are choosing to retire, right? No kids included here in your cost of living because your kids are busy living their own life. They shouldn't be with you, right? And so this is cost for a couple here, and we'll see whether this cost for a couple, whether it adds up enough for 1,000 Singapore dollar per month per person in this video, right? Okay, item number one is of course food, right? And here we're going to use an assumption of 10 ringgit per meal, right? For 3 meals a day, 7 days a week for 4 weeks a month. So this totals up to 1,680 ringgit, right? And I'm using 10 ringgit per meal. I think that's a good judge. So breakfast, lunch, dinner. Each meal 10 ringgit, yeah, which is actually more than enough. I think breakfast likely you won't eat 10 ringgit. So assuming some of that will spill over into lunch and dinner. So for 10 ringgit per meal, this is a basic meal, right? We're calling like food court level makan here, right? Food court level food, which and we're assuming that you eat out all the time, all right? You Malaysia got a lot of good food, so you eat out all the time, and you are not cooking at home. If you cook at home, of course, you can bring down this cost somewhat. But in this case study here, we're assuming you eat out all the time, 10 ringgit per meal, 3 meals a day, 7 days a week, 4 weeks a month, 4 weeks a month, yeah, that equals to 1,680 ringgit. Of course, I also assume here that since your retirement, you're not going to be eating food court every day, right? Or coffee shop every day, right? So I assume that as a retiree, you want to splurge a little bit. So I'm going to factor in here a luxury meal costing, which I assume here is 100 ringgit per week, right? Per pax, right? So each person eat 400 ringgit a month, so 100 ringgit per week per pax. So this 100 ringgit is for you to go to the more fancy restaurants, the Korean barbecues, the Japanese, the hot pots, right? The more atas luxury food choices in Malaysia. So 100 ringgit per week, 4 weeks times 2 packs. So total here we reflect 800 ringgit a month, right? For luxury food expenses. The next big cost item here is transportation. And in this scenario, I assume that as a retiree, you are not going to drive in Malaysia because you're probably at the age where you don't want to drive, right? Or driving may not be exactly the safest option for you. So let's assume here that you don't want to drive and you are going to use Grab. Now, I'll probably have to talk about how to use Grab in another video entirely, but Grab in Malaysia is actually fairly affordable compared to Singapore, right? A typical trip shouldn't within town center, JB town center should be under 10 ringgit per trip, right? If you go further into the outskirts, probably 20 ringgit plus to 30 ringgit, right? But within JB town center alone should be 10, maybe 15 ringgit max, depending on traffic conditions per trip, right? So let's assume that you do Grab 2 times a day because out, in, out, right? Two times per day, and we use 20 ringgit per trip, right? We assume that you go further away a little bit, right? Not so 20 ringgit per trip every day, yeah. So that works out to about 1,200 ringgit per month, right? And of course, as a Grab, right, this Grab vehicle you can fit you and your spouse, right? It's not per person, right? This is per trip, right? And the trip in the car, you can fit multiple people. So we use it 2 times per day, 20 ringgit per trip. So that is 1,200 ringgit per month, 30 days a month. Okay, next is your phone bill. So you're going to get a phone in Malaysia with the monthly postpaid plan. So I think we can budget that at 100 ringgit per month. You probably do not need a plan that is that expensive, right? You can probably get cheaper plans, right? But let's say within local living, 100 ringgit per month per person, so 100 ringgit times 2, you and your spouse, 200 ringgit per month. Next is the property rental. So in this case, I assume you are renting a property that you did not buy. If you buy, of course, this cost is not here at all, right? But let's assume that you are a renter, right? That you are a tenant. Easier to calculate that way. So I assume that you're renting in a project in RNF Princess Cove, right? Which is the closest to the MRT to Singapore because it's convenient for you. Of course, living in RNF gives you a lot of other conveniences like the supermarket and a lot of shopping lifestyle choices nearby in JB City Centre. So we assume here the rental as 3,000 ringgit. Now for 3,000 ringgit, you can probably rent a two-bedder, or if you're very lucky, maybe a three-bedder in RNF. So 2 to 3 bedder rental range, right? So which I think is good enough for a retiree couple, right? With the additional room either as your study or for guests, for your children to come and stay when they come and visit you in Singapore. So rent 3,000 ringgit per month for the two of you as a couple, right? Of course, if you're retiring as a one person, you can rent a smaller unit lah. But let's say couple here, minimum 2 to 3 bedroom, right? Retirement in JB. So yeah, so 3,000 ringgit per month. Okay, so once you rent a property, then you have to pay for the utilities cost. So basically, I think there are three major components here, which is the electricity, water, and also your internet bill, right? Which is your home Wi-Fi, right? So these three items, internet will probably cost you for one household 300 ringgit a month, right? Water in Malaysia is fairly cheap, so I'm using here 30 ringgit a month. You probably don't need to pay so much also, but let's assume that you really waste water person, right? Okay, then 30 ringgit per month. And internet, for a good broadband from streaming or time, you probably pay closer to 200 ringgit, probably a little less than this, but let's budget 200 ringgit for simplicity. So these three items, electricity 300, water 30 ringgit, and internet 200 ringgit, so that comes about to 530 ringgit per month. Okay, next item are what I call the subscriptions and services. So these are things that you probably pay or use on a monthly basis, right? Services and subscriptions. So things like Netflix, your home Netflix account, your haircut, right? Your monthly haircut. We assume that you cut hair, a simple haircut every month. You go watch a movie. Simple services. Nothing too expensive that you probably do quite regularly in the course of your day, right? If I want to be calculative, I can probably include things like your monthly massage and things like that also, right? Or manicure, pedicure, right? But I assume here, yeah, movie, Netflix, haircut, YouTube subscription. I don't know whether you all pay for YouTube, right? Things like this, right? And we budget here for all these kind of small services, 150 ringgit a month. Of course, the last item are all what I call your household shopping, right? So things like shampoo, body shampoo, toilet roll, soap, Maggi mee, right? Your cup noodle, your cookies that you at home that you eat for snacks, right? Small costs to keep your household functional, right? You buy, yeah, toilet roll. I mentioned toilet roll, right? So this kind of stuff, I assume 200 ringgit per month. That also, I think, is a bit on the high side. You probably don't spend so much on one household per month for this kind of items. But yeah, I put in this cost here for household shopping, all right, and miscellaneous shopping, right? You can put in your bubble tea, your weekly bubble tea fix here. You can also put it in here as well, and you come out to. So if you total up these items, we come up to a grand total of 7,760 ringgit per month for two packs, right? For you and your spouse, monthly cost of living. And that comes up to RM 3880 per pax, which is actually, if we convert at 3.45 exchange rate today, that is about 1,124 Sing dollars per pax. So actually $1,000 not enough. You need 1124, but it's close enough. I think 1124 and 1,000 is about there. I mean, and again, I think in this budget I am fairly generous in this budgeting here. I mean, there are ways to bring this down to $1,000 easily, right? If I want to, like for example, rent, or if you don't have to stay a 3 bedroom or 2 bedroom, you can stay something smaller, depending on how you plan your retirement. Food also, I think I'm quite generous, right? But yeah, roughly 1,000 Sing dollars ish, plus minus, you should be able to retire in JB or Malaysia every month, right? And cover all these costs. And of course, some other disclaimers here. This this budget doesn't include things like travel, right? If you're going to like Malacca or KL, or you want to fly to Phuket, to Bangkok or Bali for the weekend, right? All these costs are not included, right? It also doesn't include if you go to Singapore and spend in Singapore dollars, right? It doesn't include other major entertainment items. I think if you say you want to go karaoke, I probably go karaoke, go for massage weekly, bigger entertainment costs, I think is probably not included here in this list. Minor one can, right? So big entertainment costs, big travel costs, is not included in this cost of living. So those are exceptional items. But just generally to cover the basics, right? 1,000 Sing dollars or 1,001 Sing dollars should be more than enough per person, right? As a couple, you and your spouse retiring in Malaysia. So I hope you found this video interesting. If you have any questions or any things you want to add on, or say, Ryan, hey, you miss out this cost, or you miss out that cost, or hey, this cost not correct, should be higher or lower, right? Feel free to drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. And I can reply you on my comments, onto your comments and questions, and try and give you a better answer. So I think $1,000 per month is quite realistic, right? I think, and of course, as a Singaporean and you are at retiree age, generally you have your CPF life monthly payouts coming to you. That can be more than $1,000 actually, depending on how much money is in your CPF at the end at your retirement age, right? Plus some other miscellaneous income or savings. I think you will find that JB or Malaysia is fairly affordable to stay, right? Yeah, I haven't mentioned some of these food costs here. I assume you eat out all the time, right? And no cooking. So yeah, it's very generous in that sense. If you do some cooking, you will save your food bill easily, quite a bit. So yeah, so thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do like, share, and subscribe. Let me know some comments, as I mentioned earlier. I'm interested to find out what you all think about this budget I put here for retirement in Malaysia. So thank you very much, and bye bye. See you.